Pursuit of the Truth Episode 2. In the previous episode, Su Ming was pulled into a strange and haunting dream where a young girl's voice kept calling out to him, growing weaker until it vanished, and that loss pierced him so deeply it shocked him awake. Confused, he discovered that the mysterious stone he carried seemed to trigger both the dream and an unusual warmth flowing through his body. When he placed it against his chest, the warmth revealed ancient methods of Berserker training, allowing him, someone without a Berserker body, to glimpse a path that should have been impossible for him. Over the following days, Su Ming struggled to awaken even a single blood vein, yet the stone's heat continued to support him quietly, while the tribe bustled with activity and others advanced in their cultivation. He trained alone with unwavering determination. By the end of the previous episode, half a month later, Su Ming stepped into the forest once more, faster and more agile than ever, racing with Xiao Hong, until the monkey suddenly panicked, its cries turning sharp as if sensing something Su Ming could not yet see. What will happen next? Stay tuned. And the story continues. Su Ming never stopped moving in the forest. His body was like an arrow as he shot through the forest using his familiarity with the forest and his agility. Very soon, Dark Dragon Mountain appeared before his eyes. Once he got out of the forest, he would be able to get into Dark Dragon Mountain. Su Ming felt a wave of excitement as he stepped out of the forest and gazed upon the imposing slopes of Dark Dragon Mountain. For him, who had come to this mountain since childhood to collect herbs, every tree, every stone, every living creature exuded a comforting familiarity. The mountain was not just a place of survival, but a sanctuary where he felt at ease. He remembered the old scrolls he had studied, the tales of berserkers who could increase their strength by calling forth their own blood, transforming their bodies into weapons of unmatched power. Su Ming had always thought he would never have the chance to experience this himself. Yet now, standing at the threshold of the mountain, that opportunity was finally within his grasp. He could already feel changes in his body, even though he had not fully manifested all 3 blood veins required to reach the first level of the Blood Solidification Realm. His speed had surged dramatically, and his strength felt noticeably enhanced. To test it, he jumped forward and swung his right fist at a giant tree nearby. A loud crash echoed through the mountain as the faint outline of his fist was imprinted on the tree. His hand throbbed and went numb from the impact, but a wide grin spread across his face. A sudden streak of red flashed past him, accompanied by a proud screech. It was the little monkey, Xiao Hong, who had caught up to him. The monkey seemed pleased with itself, having managed to surpass Su Ming in speed. Su Ming laughed and tried to chase it, but the little creature was just too fast. In the past, the monkey would always wait for him at the top of the mountain, scowling impatiently. Now, after only 2 hours of climbing, Su Ming found it waiting atop the familiar big rock with a hollow in it, its forehead glistening with sweat, though still showing its usual scorn. It seemed less patient than before. Su Ming climbed onto the rock, touched the monkey's head, and took in a deep breath of the crisp mountain air. The mist swirled around the peaks, and he felt a deep sense of peace despite the sheer drop of the canyon below. This place, with all its dangers, had always been like a second home to him. Xiao Hong, how does it look on the other side of the mountain? Have you gone there before? Su Ming asked, his hide shirt fluttering in the wind. He instinctively touched the black stone hanging on his chest. The monkey, uninterested in conversation, lowered its head and groomed itself. Su Ming smiled at the little creature's behavior and decided to sit cross-legged, preparing to focus on his training. He explained to Xiao Hong that he would be staying on the mountain for a while and asked it to gather fruits for him when it played. The monkey's eyes lit up, and it nodded enthusiastically, understanding that Su Ming's time away from the tribe would be long. Closing his eyes, Su Ming began to meditate and refine his berserker blood. Soon, a red vein appeared, faintly glowing. This was the same red vein that had manifested vaguely half a month ago. But now it was fully forming. Su Ming's determination, combined with his persistence despite his lack of natural talent in the ways of the berserker, allowed time to pass slowly as he focused entirely on the blood circulating within him. The sun rose and set. The mists gathered and dispersed, and the sounds of the forest, birdsong and the distant calls of animals, provided a serene background to his training. On the morning of the second day, Su Ming opened his eyes. The little monkey had gone, but had left behind some fruits it had collected. Su Ming ate a dozen, enough to sustain his strength for now. He resumed his training but soon realized that his body did not have enough blood for the second blood vein to manifest. The first vein seemed to consume the majority of his fresh blood, leaving insufficient reserves for further growth. He sighed, scratching his head in frustration. He recalled how the tribe's berserkers required immense amounts of medicinal herbs to stimulate blood formation, a necessity for advancing through the blood solidification realm. Understanding the link between blood, veins, and physical strength, Su Ming knew he needed more resources to progress. His thoughts turned to the herbs he had collected as a healer. The elder had often selected the best herbs, leaving the remainder for Su Ming. Among these was the precious dark dragon's saliva, which had already been partially used to aid Lei Chen. He found the remaining portion of the precious liquid in his basket. Its familiar aroma filled the air as he uncorked the bottle. Without hesitation, Su Ming drank it in one gulp. The taste was harsh and foul, but he forced himself to swallow it. Immediately, a cold sensation surged through his body, spreading through every vein and sinew. This cold, which had been dormant for years, fused with his blood, accelerating circulation and enhancing the formation of his second blood vein. Su Ming realized that this was the gift his elder had prepared for him, nurtured over years of care, now unlocking his potential on the path of the Berserker. Excitement and disbelief washed over him as he felt the power coursing through his veins. The second blood vein formed quickly, followed immediately by the third. With the fourth vein appearing faintly, his body began to grow larger and stronger as the enhanced circulation fueled rapid physical development. He could feel the transformation. The frail, weak boy he had once been was changing into a true berserker. Yet at that very moment, the stone hanging off Su Ming's chest suddenly gave off the very same piercing light as it did in the statue of the god of berserkers. The moment the light came, things changed. As the cold light appeared, Su Ming could clearly feel a strong wave of heat emitting from his chest and traveling through his entire body quickly. The heat surged like wildfire, spreading instantly through every vein and muscle, mingling with the chill that had already settled in his body from the dark dragon's saliva. Su Ming trembled violently as the energy surged, and he could hear a deep, roaring sound emanating from within him. At that moment, the fourth blood vein manifested itself, filling him with a mixture of pain, power, and exhilaration. Almost immediately, black filth began to seep from his pores, accompanied by a terrible stench that was soon carried away by the wind. Su Ming's body was undergoing a transformation unlike anything he had experienced before. With 3 blood veins fully manifested, he had officially reached the first level of the Blood Solidification Realm, becoming a berserker in his own right. The fourth vein, still forming, hinted at even greater potential within him. Despite all this, he remained with his eyes closed, motionless, lost in the whirlwind of change happening inside him. The next morning, Xiao Hong, the little red monkey, returned to find him. The creature paused mid-step, sniffing its own claw in curiosity, only to freeze at the sight of Su Ming covered in black filth. Confused, it circled him, scratching its head, trying to make sense of what had happened. Tentatively, the monkey reached out a claw as if to touch him. Suddenly, a brilliant light erupted from Su Ming's body, brighter and more piercing than before. It enveloped him entirely, and in an instant, Su Ming disappeared. Xiao Hong squealed in shock, rushing toward the spot where Su Ming had vanished. But the light had taken him completely, leaving no trace behind. The little monkey froze in stunned silence, unable to comprehend the disappearance. Su Ming awoke in a strange place, enveloped by thick white mist. He could see the vague outline of a mountain peak in the distance, but nothing else was clear. Confusion gripped him as he glanced at his chest. His familiar black stone debris, which had emitted so much energy before, was gone. A chill ran down his spine. Standing slowly, Su Ming's gaze sharpened. He had no idea where he was, but a path lay before him. Walking cautiously, He approached the mist-shrouded mountain. As he reached its base, he took in the scene before him. Barren land stretched upward, completely devoid of vegetation, smooth as though polished by invisible hands. Strange carvings covered the surface, images of mountains, rivers, beasts, and cryptic symbols, as if depicting events from an ancient age, perhaps the legendary era of the savages. Before Su Ming could fully process the carvings, a sudden roar echoed through the air, and a crack appeared along the center of the mountain. Narrow but deep, the fissure extended downward beneath his feet. Hesitation flickered through his mind, but he gritted his teeth and stepped forward. Whatever this place was, it was connected to the black debris that had burned with energy in his chest. As he moved through the narrow crack, the path gradually widened. The walls around him were etched with bizarre carvings of plants and herbs, and naked figures with tangled hair were depicted gathering ingredients around large, strange pots. Su Ming studied the scenes carefully, noting the fluidity and precision of the actions depicted. Although unfamiliar, there was a clear sense of purpose in each motion, from sniffing the herbs to throwing them into the pots with controlled gestures. Finally, Su Ming reached the end of the passage and found a door. Its carvings matched the walls, but at its center were 5 distinct herbs arranged in a circle, surrounded by uneven strings of cold light, similar to the energy he had experienced before. 15 small holes punctuated the circle, clearly meant to hold objects. Su Ming examined the herbs closely. One was the iron core flower. Another resembled the joy leaf, though it might have been the iced catalpa plant. A third was the night glitter branch, familiar from his herb collecting experience. The fourth looked vaguely familiar, and the fifth was completely unknown to him. Su Ming hesitated, unsure if he should attempt to open the door. Before he could decide, the strings of light surrounding the herbs blazed brilliantly. Light shot from the door toward him, fast and blinding. Su Ming had no time to evade it and was instantly enveloped. His mind filled with a torrent of memories not his own, visions of a person meticulously handling herbs, tossing them into a massive pot, controlling flames with precise gestures, and producing a series of green spherical pills. Though these were merely memories, Su Ming could faintly smell the aroma of the herbs. His heart pounded as he realized the potency of these spherical medicinal pills. Even in memory alone, the techniques were far more complex than anything he had ever seen in his tribe. Fire, precision, timing. Every detail mattered in this quenching process, which he would later come to recognize as the creation of scattering dust pills. As the light faded, Su Ming's vision cleared, and he was startled to see Xiao Hong leaping toward him, screaming in delight. In an instant, he was back on the familiar big rock of Dark Dragon Mountain. Looking down, he noticed the piece of debris still hanging on his chest, slightly pulsing. The events had been real. He had physically traveled to that strange place. He murmured to himself, recalling the quenching process and the medicinal pills. The knowledge he had glimpsed would be crucial for his future Berserker training, enhancing blood circulation and potentially accelerating his strength. Su Ming sketched the unfamiliar herbs on the ground, seeking confirmation from Xiao Hong, who nodded in understanding. Thoughts raced through his mind. Acquiring the herbs would be possible, but replicating the medicinal process seemed incredibly complicated. The pot, unlike anything used in the tribe, was essential. It was called the Barren Caldron. He realized he would also need a specialized fire, carefully controlled, to match the memory's instructions. He lifted his gaze toward one of the distant mountains among the 5 peaks of Dark Dragon Mountain. It was barren, brown, and at this moment, smoke rolled lazily from its summit, hinting at the fire he would need for his next step in mastering the quenching process. That mountain was completely brown in color, and at this moment, there was smoke rolling out from the top of the mountain. Each one of the 5 mountains in the Dark Dragon Mountain are different. The mountain which produced the Dark Dragon's saliva was the closest to the Dark Mountain tribe. If he went any further, he might accidentally run into other people from other tribes. Su Ming had always known the terrain of Dark Dragon Mountain better than anyone. He rarely ventured beyond the mountain that provided the precious Dark Dragon's saliva, as doing so could bring him into contact with other tribes, something he wanted to avoid. His careful habits ensured that he spent most of his time near familiar areas, only daring to explore the outer mountains to gather rarer herbs, always with caution and precision. Today, his eyes were fixed on a different peak, one he knew as Black Flame Mountain. Smoke curled from its summit, and the air above it shimmered with heat. This mountain, Su Ming recalled, was filled with earth and fire, remnants of an ancient era when it had been the center of the land of the Fire Berserker tribe. Centuries had passed, but even now, the ground radiated scorching waves of heat, making the mountain both dangerous and fascinating. Su Ming had stepped foot on Black Flame Mountain several times before, narrowly escaping encounters with members of the Black Mountain tribe. That tribe had long harbored grudges against the Dark Mountain tribe, and while large-scale battles were rare, skirmishes and hunting disputes frequently turned bloody. Su Ming had learned to rely on his speed and agility to navigate these encounters alive. Despite a brief moment of hesitation, Su Ming's eyes gleamed with determination. He turned his gaze away from the threatening mountain and moved toward a hollowed area of flat stone nearby. He lifted several large stones, revealing something hidden beneath, a crudely made bow. Though simple, the bow exuded power and tension from its taut string. Only hunters in the Dark Mountain tribe were allowed to possess such weapons. Su Ming had fashioned this bow himself, trading herbs for materials, and kept it as a secret that only Lei Chen knew. Alongside the bow, 5 arrows with sharpened stone tips were retrieved and placed in his basket. Each arrow was carefully polished, ready for use. Su Ming held the bow firmly, whistled to Xiao Hong, and gestured toward the herbs he had drawn on the ground. The little monkey's eyes gleamed with understanding, its grin wide and mischievous. Before it darted forward in a blur of red, Su Ming followed with equal care, and in moments, they disappeared into the depths of the mountain forest. Xiao Hong's familiarity with Dark Dragon Mountain far surpassed Su Ming's, guiding him swiftly through hidden paths. As the sun began to descend, casting the sky in shades of crimson, Su Ming's basket filled with various medicinal herbs. By the end of the day, he had gathered 7 or 8 distinct types, including both the exact herbs from the drawing and those similar in appearance. Near the edge of the forest by Black Flame Mountain, Su Ming paused, pointing at a patch of black mud. Twilight had deepened, and Xiao Hong gestured eagerly toward the setting sun. Su Ming understood immediately, squatting to observe as darkness slowly enveloped the surrounding area. Within half an hour, the forest beyond a 100-foot radius was swallowed by night. Then, from the black mud, bubbles emerged, and a strange red plant began to rise. It moved as if swimming through the mud, its roots undulating beneath the surface. Su Ming's hair stood on end, but he remained still, watching as the plant slowly emerged, revealing the bud of a red flower. The flower bloomed before him, releasing a fragrance that made his blood surge with energy. It was as though flames coursed through his veins, heating his skin and invigorating his body. Without hesitation, Su Ming drew his stone spatula and carefully cut the flower from its roots. Placing it in his basket, Xiao Hong emitted a nervous screech, sensing the danger of lingering, and Su Ming moved quickly to leave the area. Moments after they departed, a roar erupted from the mud, and all the red flowers collapsed back into it. Fresh blood seeped into the mud, accompanied by a foul stench, a reminder of the danger they had narrowly avoided. That night, Su Ming and Xiao Hong rested in a tree, sorting through the herbs by the soft moonlight. The assortment of herbs brought a sense of excitement to Su Ming. He recalled the quenching process he had seen in the visions from the previous mountain. Realizing how crucial these herbs might be for creating the scattering dust medicinal pills. 2 herbs, similar in color, stood out. They were both red, but one had 6 petals and the other 5. The unfamiliar 6-petal flower had been extracted from the red mud. Su Ming suspected that consuming it raw could be hazardous, potentially explosive to his body, so he carefully placed it in the basket without tasting it. He rested on the branch, taking a bite of fruit and breathing in the forest air. The sounds of birds and beasts surrounded him, blending seamlessly into the serenity of the night. Xiao Hong remained alert beside him, grooming itself while watching for potential threats. They spent the night in quiet vigilance, immersed in the harmony of the forest while planning their next steps. At sunrise, Su Ming and Xiao Hong descended from the tree and approached Black Flame Mountain. Mist hung over the forest, and a thin veil of darkness surrounded their path. Su Ming held his bow tightly, remaining alert, and Xiao Hong mirrored his caution. As the sun climbed, the mist dispersed, revealing the formidable mountain ahead. Brown and barren, it radiated waves of heat that licked his face, while plumes of black smoke rose from its summit. Black Flame Mountain, Su Ming muttered, his voice low and cautious. Without hesitation, he began ascending the mountain, using the heat-repelling herbs placed along the path to aid his climb. His movements were swift, but every step was measured. Halfway up, Xiao Hong let out a sharp screech, alerting Su Ming to potential danger. Instantly, he pressed himself into a nearby crack, drawing his bow and knocking an arrow in one fluid motion. Xiao Hong pressed close beside him, silent and vigilant. From the shadows, voices of the Black Mountain tribe members echoed faintly. They spoke of mining stones, the tribe elders' advancements, and other matters. Su Ming remained perfectly still, his breathing controlled, waiting until the voices faded into the distance. Once the threat had passed, he resumed his ascent, his senses heightened and every movement cautious. Soon, Xiao Hong tugged at his shirt, signaling him to notice a small hole formed naturally in the rock. Steam rose from the opening, suggesting heat or energy within. Su Ming abandoned further climbing and carefully approached the hole, removing his basket and crawling in, with Xiao Hong close at his side. The hole was not big, and Su Ming only managed to get in because he was on the smaller side. If it were any of the other members of the Berserker tribe, they would not have been able to make it in. The hole was strange. It was completely even in size. When Su Ming saw the end of the hole some 100 feet later, he started slowing down. Su Ming approached the exit of the hole with extreme caution. After crawling for what felt like an eternity, he finally glimpsed the open space ahead, and for a moment, he was stunned. Taking a deep breath, he peered out and realized he had entered a fire cave. The environment was unlike anything he had seen before. Massive stalactites hung precariously from the ceiling, their dry, cracked surfaces threatening to crumble at the slightest touch. The ground beneath him was blackened, yet red streaks of rock flowed downward, merging into brown patches. The heat in the cave was intense, far stronger than the warmth outside, pressing against him like a physical force. Suspended in the air before him was the blackened skeleton of a colossal python, stretching some 80 to 90 feet in length. Its head was crowned with a horn as large as a human arm. Jet black in color, Su Ming had never seen such a creature. Yet he recalled the tales his elder had told him about the ancient horned pythons of Dark Dragon Mountain. Fierce predators, each bore a sharp horn, highly prized by the tribes as tributes. The Dark Mountain tribe itself had preserved a single horn, considered the emblem of the tribe leader. Could this be one of the horned pythons? Su Ming whispered to himself, eyes tracing the skeleton. The answer seemed clear as he surveyed the fire cave around him. To test the intensity of the heat, he tossed an herb from his basket onto the floor. It sizzled upon contact, withering completely after 15 minutes. He repeated the experiment several times, confirming that while the heat was formidable, he could survive so long as he avoided touching the red rocks directly. Xiao Hong, ever impatient and impulsive, lingered nervously by the hole, its small body drenched in sweat. The monkey seemed unsure of the dangers surrounding them and retreated momentarily to avoid the fiery cave. Su Ming did not push the matter. He hoisted his basket and moved further into the cave, aware that deeper within Black Flame Mountain lay a place that could be ideal for quenching herbs. Soon, Su Ming reached a broad, open area. Potholes dotted the floor, emitting waves of scalding heat that rose up through the ground. Tentatively, he stepped forward, only to be met with a sudden blast of fire from one of the potholes, erupting like a whip of flame the size of a human arm. Su Ming yelped and retreated immediately, eyes wide with alarm. Half an hour later, the flames subsided, but no sooner had they vanished than another eruption occurred from a different pothole. This cycle repeated endlessly, bursts of fire erupting in irregular intervals. Su Ming stared at the potholes, excitement gradually replacing fear. Fire. There is fire here. But it is unstable, appearing only occasionally, he mused, though momentarily disappointed by its inconsistency. He quickly reminded himself that venturing to the mountain's depths might reveal even better locations. Or at least allow him to escape quickly if danger arose. This will be my first place to perform quenching, Su Ming declared, eyes gleaming with determination. The missing element for his quenching process was the Barren Caldron. I can make one myself, he thought, surveying the scattered rocks around him. Stones that had endured the heat for years without turning to ash could surely withstand the intense fire of the potholes. After careful selection, he identified a suitable stone, warm but not overly hot, and took up his sharp, polished spatula. Hours passed as Su Ming cut into the stone, a laborious but familiar task. His mind wandered to the python skeleton and its massive horn. Curious, he tapped the horn lightly, and to his amazement, the skeleton crumbled into ashes, leaving the horn unscathed. The horn is extraordinary, Su Ming murmured, slicing it across a nearby rock. A crack appeared, but he was unfazed. He carried the horn back to his stone, using it to help carve out a stone stove resembling the Barren Caldron from his visions. He even crafted a lid to retain heat within the cauldron, ensuring that it would withstand the fire. The first test came after several hours of waiting for a fire eruption beneath a pothole. Su Ming positioned the cauldron directly over the blast, holding his breath as it gradually glowed red and sizzled under the heat. Cracks appeared across its surface, but it held firm. Relief washed over him. 2 hours, only 2 hours each eruption. That is not enough, he reflected, considering ways to extend the duration. He observed the patterns of the fire eruptions, noting their unpredictability, and spent a full day experimenting. During this time, Xiao Hong occasionally dropped fruits near a safe spot before scampering off to play. The cauldron endured repeated exposure to the fire, proving its resilience. Su Ming then devised a plan. Using the horn, he carved a series of small ravines connecting multiple potholes beneath the cauldron. When one erupted, the flames flowed along the channels, prolonging the heat exposure. After several days of observation and further adjustments, he perfected the layout, ensuring that the fire would be neither too strong nor too weak for quenching the medicinal pills. With the setup complete, Su Ming began his very first quenching process according to the memories he had absorbed. He prepared meals with Xiao Hong's help, sometimes venturing out to hunt small prey, which he roasted in the cave as sustenance during the long hours of work. He also relayed crucial information about the Black Mountain tribe's elder to the hunting team from his own tribe when he encountered them. Days turned into weeks. For half a month, Su Ming labored tirelessly, refining the herbs repeatedly without success. His eyes grew red from exhaustion, frustration, and determination. Despite reaching the first level of the Blood Solidification Realm and manifesting 4 blood veins, he needed to break through to the second level to unlock the first of the Berserker arts from the god of Berserker's statue. After a month of repeated failures, Su Ming's resolve was tested, but he refused to give in. He threw the basket to Xiao Hong, baring his teeth in determination. "Collect herbs for me again," he commanded. The little monkey obeyed, grinning, and rushed off into the forest. Another half-month passed. Su Ming stood in front of the cauldron, disheveled and weary. In his hands were 2 herbs, both red, one with 6 petals and the other with 5. He stared at them, weighing his decision. The urgency pressed upon him. Which one should I use? Su Ming knew he did not have much time to think, so he grit his teeth and made his decision. In this episode, we saw Su Ming's journey take him through remarkable challenges and discoveries. He first reached the first level of the Blood Solidification Realm, manifesting his 4th blood vein and gaining immense power. He was then transported to an ancient, mysterious place filled with carvings, herbs, and memories from the past, where he learned about the quenching process and the creation of the rare scattering dust medicinal pills. With the help of Xiao Hong, his clever little companion, Su Ming collected all the essential herbs, including the dangerous red flower emerging from the mud under the moonlight. He ventured into the intense heat of Black Flame Mountain, discovering fire caves and harnessing the power of erupting potholes to prepare for the quenching process. Through patience, careful observation, and ingenious problem-solving, he successfully constructed his first Barren Caldron and began the painstaking process of quenching the herbs. Facing repeated failures but never giving up, this episode captured Su Ming's determination, intelligence, and resilience as he took his first true steps toward mastering the Berserker arts. What happens next? Stay tuned for the next episode of Pursuit of the Truth. If you enjoyed this episode or found it exciting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications for the latest episodes of Su Ming's journey. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next video.